When we think about building a peaceful world, our minds jump straight to things like treaties, politics, maybe global summits. But what if we've been looking in completely the wrong place this whole time? Maria Montessori, the famous educator, actually spent decades digging into the roots of human conflict, and her conclusion, well, it was as profound as it was unexpected. Okay, let's dive into this. This was the central, totally radical question at the heart of her work. I mean, think about it. It challenges every single conventional idea we have about war and peace. And it's the core of what we're going to unpack today. This idea that the secret to global harmony might just be hiding in plain sight, in every nursery and every classroom around the world. So first things first, Montessori forces us to completely redefine what peace even means. We usually think of it as just the absence of war, right? A negative definition. She said that's like calling the ashes and smoke left after a massive fire peace. True peace, she argued, is something positive, something you have to actively build. It's like health. You're not just not sick, you're vibrant, you're thriving, everything is working in harmony. And this quote just nails her core argument. Politics is like the fire department. It's essential for putting out the fires once they've started. It's a temporary fix, a ceasefire. But education, the right kind of education, that's like building a fireproof society from the ground up. That's the permanent solution. So to build this new world, we first have to figure out what's wrong with the old one. We've got to look past the obvious, beyond the battlefield, to find the real source of the problem. Montessori used this absolutely brilliant analogy to make her point. She said, we treat war just like people treated the plague back in the Middle Ages. When it hit, everyone panicked and looked for someone to blame. Poisoners, enemies, you name it. They were so focused on the symptoms, they completely missed the real, hidden cause, a total lack of basic hygiene. This timeline just lays it out perfectly. With the plague, we eventually moved from blaming people to understanding microbes. But with war, we're still stuck in the blame game, pointing fingers at leaders and countries. Montessori's point is that we're ignoring the real culprit, the poor moral hygiene in our society that lets the microbe of war grow and spread. So what is this moral sickness? Well, this is where we get to Montessori's really shocking diagnosis. The hidden systemic problem isn't out there on some battlefield. She said it's a secret war that's happening every day in every home and school. The war between the adult and the child. Now, this isn't a war fought with malice. It's a war of complete misunderstanding. The adult's whole focus is on shaping the external world to command it, organize it, and impose their will on it. But the child has a totally different internal goal, to create themselves, to literally construct a person from the inside. And when the adult tries to command that internal process, a silent conflict kicks off. And just notice who Montessori says is blind in this conflict. It's the adult. It's us. We are blind to the child's true nature, to this incredible internal work that they're doing. The child, she says, sees their own developmental path with total clarity, guided by instinct. But they're just too weak to defend it from the powerful, well-meaning, but ultimately blind adult. And this right here, this is the hidden hygiene problem she was talking about. This constant, unconscious suppression of a child's natural drive is the moral sickness of our society. And it doesn't just hurt kids, it creates generations of psychologically flawed adults. And these scars, they create the perfect breeding ground for war. Think about it. Adults who don't believe in themselves are easily led. People who desperately need approval and fear public opinion will follow any crowd, even into disaster. And a person who's been trained since birth in blind, unquestioning obedience, well, that's the perfect soldier, the perfect citizen for an authoritarian state. Okay, I know, that is a pretty grim diagnosis. But this is where Montessori's vision completely flips from a critique into this powerful message of hope. Because the solution she found was hiding inside the problem. The child isn't just a victim, the child is our teacher. This reframing changes everything. A child is not a blank slate for us to write on. They are a spiritual embryo. What does that mean? Well, just like a physical embryo already has the entire blueprint for a body, the child has an internal spiritual blueprint for the person they're meant to become. Our job isn't to design them, it's to serve the design that's already there. And the language she uses here is intentionally powerful. Messiah, Savior. She used those words to shock us, to make us see the incredible potential we ignore every single day. In the child, she saw the actual key to our collective salvation, the power to create a new, healthier humanity from the inside out. So what is the child's real work? She calls it incarnation. When you see a toddler concentrating so intensely on just pouring water from one little pitcher to another, they are not just playing. They are building their mind, they're coordinating their body, they are doing the sacred work of constructing a human being. That is their life's purpose. And this, of course, leads us straight to the practical side of her philosophy. If this is the true nature of the child, how on earth do we create an education that actually honors it and unleashes all that potential for peace? It's not about a specific curriculum of things to memorize. It's about a fundamental, total shift in our approach. You prepare an environment that's built for them, with tools they can actually use. You honor that powerful, deep-seated drive for independence. You stop being a lecturer and become more of a humble guide. And maybe most important of all, you protect their moments of deep concentration, because that is when the real magic of self-construction is happening. I mean, the contrast couldn't be more clear. One system is based on imposition, on forcing the child to conform to our world. The other is based on revelation, creating the right conditions so the child's true, capable, and peaceful nature can finally emerge all on its own. And the result? Montessori saw it happen again and again. What she called a new child would emerge. You know, all those chaotic, defiant, or distracted behaviors we think are just normal for kids? Turns out, they're often just symptoms of suppression. The normalized child is calm, self-disciplined, and finds this incredible joy in doing purposeful work. So this brings us to the final, crucial connection. How does one new child, even if we multiply that across the globe, actually rebuild our future and create a world of lasting peace? Montessori saw this huge, dangerous gap opening up in the modern world. We've built this incredible supernature of technology. I mean, we have godlike powers. We can fly, talk to anyone on Earth instantly. We can literally split the atom. But our psychological and moral development, it's pretty much stuck in the Stone Age. We have the power of gods, but the maturity of toddlers. That's a scary combination. And here it is. Here's the connection. A child whose development is respected, who is allowed to grow naturally, develops a deep and genuine love for their environment and for purposeful work. They don't see the world as something to conquer and possess. They see it as a place for collaboration and creation. And that psychological foundation is the only thing that can support a truly peaceful society. So this gives us a really clear path forward. It's a call to action for every single one of us, whether you're a parent, a teacher, or just a citizen of the world. It's about a fundamental shift in perspective, to finally see the child not as an object for us to mold, but as the master builder of our shared future. Ultimately, Montessori leaves us with this incredibly powerful question. The future isn't some far-off place. It's being constructed right now, inside the minds and hearts of our children. The peace we're all hoping for tomorrow depends entirely on the freedom, the respect, and the trust that we offer them today.